This is WKYT News at 6:30 on the CW Lexington.
And good evening. We're live here on the CW Lexington. I'm Sam Dick.
And I'm Jennifer Palumbo. We are debating the presidential debate tonight. We have two very special guests. We're excited about this segment coming up. We have Crystal Ball, a Democratic strategist, and Trey Watson with the Kentucky Republican Party. Their take on last night and also what this could mean here in Kentucky. You're
going to play the part of Lester Holt. You're going to be our moderator tonight, right?
Yes, that's right. I will not be interrupting anyone tonight.
All right, there you go. All right, that's coming in just a few minutes, so stay with us for that. Also, trending right now, police trying to figure out what led to a deadly crash on the Mountain Parkway in Powell County. A terrible situation. Police say that two cars traveling westbound were involved in that crash.
That's the most clicked on story right now on WKYT.com, followed by a student suspended over a photo of school water. And again, the story, two killed in another crash on the Mountain Parkway in Powell County. Here's what we're following right now at 6:30. Is an Indiana man competent to stand trial for the murder of a 6-year-old Central Kentucky boy? WKYT's Hillary Thornton will have the latest from the courtroom.
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002.
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her.
Well, I hope the fact checkers are turning up the volume and really working hard.
And we are breaking down the news and debating the debate. We will talk with a top Kentucky Democrat and Republican about what they think about that. What happened last night.
Grocery wars in Lexington. Find out the new trend that's giving shoppers healthier options. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is joining us now. What a fantastic fall day in the
Thank you. I bow to you.
Who's your best friend?
Listen, there is no debate. This weather's great.
This is good stuff. That's right. No duking it out over this. Although, next couple of days, the clouds, the ugly weather are going to fight back into central and eastern Kentucky. So I'm your friend for one whole day.
All right.
Okay. All right, so I got to soak this up.
You're cheered every time you go out in public
exactly.
until tonight.
People throw roses at me. Tomorrow it's Rotten Tomatoes. We are going to be dealing with a big change, though, that is lurking as we make our way into the day. Tomorrow, you're going to see this beautiful sky that we have now cloud over quickly. Gusty showers and some thunderstorms will be out there. So, indeed, soak up the last remaining minutes now of this sunshine that's out there across central and eastern Kentucky. Temperature 70 to 75 throughout the region. That's not too far away from normal for this time of year. But as the sun sets, those temperatures drop quickly through the 50s with that dry air that is in place. Clear skies will carry us through the remainder of the overnight. Then this bad boy across the Great Lakes has rain wrapping around it. A lot of clouds, chilly air that is aimed towards central and eastern Kentucky. And once it gets into town, it's going to be like a bad house guest. It just will not leave. And we'll show you what that means for the rest of the work week forecast, guys, when I come back here in just a couple of minutes.
Chris, thank you. Is a man accused of killing 6-year-old Logan Tipton in central Kentucky in his home competent to stand trial?
That question was the focus of a hearing today in Woodford County for Ronald Exantis. Both the victim and suspect's families were in the courtroom. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has our top story at 6:30.
More than 2 hours worth of testimony was heard here inside of the Woodford County Courthouse today. Family of Logan Tipton filling a couple of rows inside. And for the first time, the man accused of killing the 6-year-old also had family in the courtroom. That testimony coming from Dr. Amy Trivett from Kentucky Correctional Psychiatric Center. Dr. Trivett saying while no neurological abnormalities were found, doctors did note signs of psychosis and bizarre behavior by Exantis. However, with that being said, the expert witness testifying that she does believe the 32-year-old fully understands the charges against him and is competent to stand trial.
Obviously, I would like for there to not be a trial. I would like for him to be able to go and spend the rest of his life in a hospital somewhere where he can be monitored and medicated. You know, I think that would be in his best interest. I think it would be in everybody's best interest.
Exantis' defense team did have a couple witnesses set to testify, however, deciding to save them for a later date. While the judge did not make a ruling today, Tipton's father said they were pleased with how court went and are hopeful after a few delays that the court proceedings will continue moving forward.
We're ready to get this over with so we can heal. Every time we have to come back to court, it just reopens everything back up.
The attorney for Exantis says she does not believe that the judge will rule in favor of them on this competency hearing, but says she believes there are other hearings down the road that are more important to their defense. In Woodford County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
The next court date for Exantis is November 2nd. The judge plans to make a ruling before that date. 2 people are dead after a crash in Powell County this afternoon. Clay City police say a man and woman died when the car they were riding in blew a tire and lost control. The couple was pronounced dead at the scene. The police chief said the car was an early 1960s model and was not equipped with seat belts. This is the 3rd deadly crash on the Mountain Parkway in Powell County since last week.
We have an update now on the investigation into a Powell County substitute teacher. Powell County school leaders say that some students at Powell County Middle School claim they felt uncomfortable by the way the teacher touched them. Clay City police say they investigated, presented their case to the county attorney this morning, but police say the county attorney will not press any charges. Police now think that 2 robberies and an attempted robbery at Dollar General stores in Madison County could all be connected. Last night, Berea police say a man robbed the Dollar General on Prince Royal Drive and got away with a few $100s. They say he wore a shirt that had been stolen from another Dollar General. And this comes after a Dollar General on Irvin Road near Richmond was robbed Sunday, an attempted robbery at another Dollar General in Richmond before that. The suspect has not been caught. Police say they're now increasing patrols at Dollar General stores in Madison County.
Crews in Rockcastle County are slowly restoring running water to dozens of households. A break in an eastern Rockcastle water line caused the running water from about 50 homes to stop. Today, only 22 homes are still without water. Crews are still trying to fix the leak. They were having a difficult time finding it. Other water districts have jumped in to help them fix it. Fresh, healthy, and affordable. That appears to be the new trend in Lexington when it comes to grocery stores. As WKYT's Kristen Kennedy explains, a new store in town hopes to meet the demand.
Well, Fresh Time is the latest to join the ranks of grocers in Lexington, providing healthy, natural items to families.
There is such a movement towards the healthier living and fruits and vegetables.
Fresh Time's Director of Operations, Greg Ham, says families are more focused than ever on healthy living. He's confident his new store in Lexington will attract a lot of people wanting fresh, natural, affordable foods. And he's not alone. Many grocers in town are expanding, citing the need to provide patrons with options.
I believe now that all families are really geared up towards looking to live healthier lifestyles and have affordable foods, healthy foods that they can purchase for their family and not having to go out and spend a lot of money.
Lucky's Market opened earlier this year with a focus on organic and local foods. Whole Foods Market at Lexington Green is moving to the big brand new development at the Summit. And the Kroger on Leestown Road is expanding. They're making room for greater varieties of produce, nutrition, and organic, saying natural and organic foods represent some of the fastest growing categories in our stores. Fresh Time leaders say there's more than enough room for a new grocer to make a mark in town.
We're not really looking to compete with anybody else. We're just really focused on building our own brand. We are really like a conventional store, but with everything geared towards healthy living at fantastic prices.
In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Fresh Time's grand opening is tomorrow morning at 7. The expanded Kroger on Leestown Road will open late next month.
More than 80 million tuning in last night for the first presidential debate of campaign 2016. So who came out on top? 2 of Kentucky's top political experts joining us live to break down that debate. That's in less than 3 minutes here on WKYT News at 6:30 on the CW.
Then the Florida Gators bringing on a familiar face to Big Blue Nation. Scott Strickland is Florida's athletics director. Dave Baker has the sports buzz.
And welcome back to WKYT News here at 6:30 on the CW Lexington. The presidential debate, one of the most watched with more than 80 million people tuning in worldwide.
A lot of people talking about it. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump talked about everything from the economy to race and national security. And neither candidate missed a chance to make pointed attacks.
I don't believe she does have the stamina. To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
A man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes.
Both candidates are on the campaign trail today, touting themselves as winners of the debate. Here to help us break down the debate are Crystal Ball and Trey Watson. Crystal is a Democratic strategist here in Kentucky. She's a former MSNBC news anchor and currently contributes to the Huffington Post and Glamour magazine. Trey's the communications director for the Republican Party of Kentucky. He's also been a campaign manager for various statewide races. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Crystal, I'll start with you. One day later, what is the big story on this day after the debate?
I think the big story is that you got to prepare to be president of the United States. I mean, that was the clear difference last night. You could tell Hillary Clinton knew what her plans are. She actually has plans, unlike Donald Trump in some cases. And she came to the debate with a strategy that enabled her to really take control of the debate and put him on his heels. And so that's why I think you see today most of the focus groups, most of the polls come out and say that Hillary Clinton won overwhelmingly. And you can even tell in Donald Trump's demeanor. I mean, he's out today trying to blame the moderator and say the whole thing was very unfair and he had a bum microphone, which you usually don't do when you won.
Is the bum microphone the explanation for the sniffle, Trey? We had a lot of debate about the Trump sniffle last night. So what is your takeaway from this on the day after? Because a lot of the analysts said that Hillary Clinton seemed to be the winner, but that Trump came out strong early on.
You know, I think Donald Trump, he came out with a purpose and was speaking to a specific set of voters, and those are voters in swing states, especially in the Rust Belt, Middle America. You have a lot of blue-collar workers who normally vote Democrat, who I think Donald Trump really speaks to, and the whole goal for the next 40-odd days from here on out for Donald Trump is to try to bring those people to his side and convince them of the message that the system is broken, the system's rigged. Hillary Clinton's had 30 years to fix it, and she's not the right person for the job, and that he is.
So, Crystal, going forward, where do they go from here? Because right now it's a very tight race. Do you think last night's debate will change anything in the polls?
I do. I mean, I think actually one of the stories that's going to continue and be a big problem for Donald Trump is his attacks on the Miss Universe contestant, calling her Miss Piggy, calling her Miss Housekeeping because she had gained some weight. And he went on Fox and Friends this morning and did another interview and basically doubled down on those comments and continued to fat shame her. So when he's making pointed attacks at specific people, that's something that in the past has really moved the polls. So I think you see Hillary Clinton gain a couple of points. I don't think we're going to see her up 10 points like we were after the DNC, but I would see this race solidify it, sort of her with a 3 or 4 point lead nationally.
And Trey, what does this mean for here in Kentucky and for the other races that will be on the ballot in November?
You know, I think Kentucky is one of the states, maybe one of the few states where Donald Trump is going to have a real lasting impact down ballot on the future of a state. I think Donald Trump is going to be one of the impetuses that helps us flip the Kentucky State House and put Republicans in control. Donald Trump is polling way ahead in eastern Kentucky, where there's a lot of vulnerable Democratic incumbents. And I think on the strength of his campaign message, and especially on Hillary Clinton's weakness and her statements on the coal industry, he's going to help us flip the Kentucky State House this year.
What are your predictions, both of you, for this presidential race? What do you see happening in November?
I think it's going to come down to being a very similar year as 2012. I think you see her holding on to Pennsylvania, Virginia, Colorado, the states that she's up in right now, and managing to win nationally with a 3 or 4 point margin. I mean, one thing I do want to say about Kentucky is I think Kentucky women heard the same things that women all over this country heard last night and have been hearing from Donald Trump, really horrifying comments. And I think people of all stripes are really disappointed that a man who would run on his wealth and his business dealings won't reveal anything of them through his tax returns. That was another big problem for him last night. Will continue to be a problem for him throughout the campaign.
Trey?
I think this campaign is going to come down to can Donald Trump get Republicans to come home to him, or can Hillary Clinton get Democrats to come home to her? I think most people have their minds made up, and it's just a battle over who can get their people to the polls and who can get somewhat disaffected bases on both sides to come back home and support the winner.
All right. We appreciate both of you for coming.
Thanks for having
Crystal
us.
came all the way from Louisville. You came from here in Lexington.
It was my
Trey
pleasure.
Watson and Crystal Ball. Thank you guys both so much.
Thank you.
And you can join this conversation about last night's debate by leaving your comments on WKYT.com or on our Facebook page. Let us know what you think.
Jennifer, thank you. Well, Chris, we get to debate the weather. That's a little bit easier job.
It is. It's much easier.
Fall is finally here. We've got some pictures from Mike Lennon, meteorologist Mike Lennon, did a story today about fall and how it's affecting the colors in terms of the temperatures and so forth. When is really a peak time here in Kentucky?
Second half of October, we typically start to see the vibrant colors really showing up, and that's going to be the case again this year. You get past that October 15th window, then all of a sudden you see the explosion of colors. The mountains of eastern Kentucky will get on the vibrant colors earlier than the bluegrass region, for instance. But you know what, Sam? The peak is generally during the third week of October, and I think that's going to be the case out there right now. Beautiful blue skies across central and eastern Kentucky. Nothing to really write home about in terms of the sky condition. It's blue. You've got a little high cloud cover. 70 to 75 degrees showing up now across most of central and eastern Kentucky. So a gorgeous day that is wrapping up across the land. Defender Radar Network. Nothing is out there across Kentucky. Look to the north, though. Here we go with the change that's going to blow into town over the next few days. That's going to bring the ugly back into the bluegrass state. Big upper level low is spinning here across sections of the Great Lakes. Notice all the clouds. Notice the rain that is spiraling around that low, and we've got the word chilly in there because it's downright chilly behind that front. So here's the breakdown over the next 3 days. Tomorrow, if you got something to do outside, try to do so first half of the day. Shower storms will increase. Afternoon temperatures then will decrease. You got a chance of seeing the 70s by noontime, and then the front gets in here with some rain, and boom, temperatures drop, and from there we stay low. Way below normal on Thursday. Some gusty showers around. That'll likely carry us into the day on Friday when a little clap or two of thunder will be a possibility. And you can get some thunder this time of year, even with temperatures on the very cool side. How about low 60s, maybe a mid 60s if you get a ray or two of sunshine Thursday into Friday. This is a setup we've talked about for the better part of the past week. Just told you last week when we were hitting 90, be patient, it's coming this week, and there you go, and it may actually get pretty darn ugly over the next couple of days. Guys, I don't see any one day just being complete wall-to-wall rain. But you don't want to be caught without an umbrella. You don't want to be caught without a jacket.
Well, we can see that beautiful Winchester Road shot behind you.
Yeah.
This is your chance. Get outside and enjoy it right now, this nice night.
Yeah, I've got 12 minutes before I can get out there and enjoy it. And I'll be all over
You
it.
go take your walk around the parking lot.
That's
yes.
right.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Enjoy, Chris. When we come back, separating fact from fiction in a wild UK football weekend. Dave Buzz Baker with the Sports Buzz next. It's time now for the Sports Buzz.
Each night we talk to Dave Buzz Baker for an inside look at what's going on.
All right. It wasn't long last week. I mean, even before the weekend that I start hearing stuff, outrageous stuff from people about the coaching situation at UK.
30, what have we got, about 60 years between you and I, and then throwing about 20 with Naim, and it's like walking a minefield every day.
Yeah.
I know, and she was just in elementary school when we started. This stuff happens all the time, and these rumors pop up, and as a news organization, we've got an opportunity and an obligation to follow them up. But when something happens, and apparently there's not a shred of truth to the rumor, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And the thing I wanted to say today is I always call Lexington the world's biggest little town.
Yes.
I mean, everybody's always going on about this. And listen, we've all gotten it as public figures, right?
Everybody knows your business.
Anything happens in our lives, everybody's talking, and that's part of the deal, and I'm not complaining here. But, folks, this is about football, and it shouldn't be about people's families. And even though that guy's getting paid a lot of money to coach football, he's a husband and a father and a brother, and all I would say to people is I understand there's great interest in it, but just be careful and realize this involves people's lives. They are not inanimate objects. And again, apparently no credible evidence whatsoever.
All lies.
And that's why we're not going to talk. But I just had to. I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
No.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Florida. Scott Strickland, our man. A couple of years ago, he was fielding requests from media guys like me, and today he was introduced as the new athletics director at Florida. I mean, one of the best guys in the world. And, you know, a lot of people give Mitch Barnhart a hard time about things, but you look at his tree now of guys that have gone on to big jobs. Florida is one of the premier jobs in college athletics.
Well, and now the Mississippi State job is open, and we're hearing that Mitch Barnhart's right-hand man, Dwayne Peavy's name may be mentioned for it.
Even more so than that, but you know, you've got Scott at Florida, you've got Rob Mullins at Oregon, right at the right hand of Phil Knight. You've got Mark Coyle, who's now at Minnesota after a couple of jobs, and now who goes to Mississippi State? It could be Dwayne Peavy, but the internal candidate down there is John Cohen, who was the baseball coach here that Scott Strickland made an AD. And if that happens, Gary Henderson, who got fired as coach here, could get elevated to head coach down there.
It all ties back into Kentucky.
But I mean, seriously, for all the grief that Mitch gets, obviously this is a great training ground for guys and gals that want to be athletics directors, and that should be recognized.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheer them on.
Okay, I've walked through the minefield. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, Buzz. Very good. Well done.
Ahead tonight here on the CW Lexington, an hour of Family Feud is next. Then at 8, The Flash, followed by Mad TV at 9.
And over on WKYT, NCIS at 8, Bowl at 9, NCIS New Orleans at 10, followed by WKYT News at 11 o'clock.
Finally, take a look at this. Police officers from around the country are right here in central Kentucky, brushing up on their horseback riding skills.
Yeehaw! The week-long event taking place at the Kentucky Horse Park. National experts training officers on how to best complete various types of exercises with their horses.
It's not like riding a motorcycle where you can just go to a 2-week school and all you have to depend on is your knowledge and you operate in the motorcycle, whereas a horse is a completely different animal, so to speak.
This is the 32nd year for the event. Nearly 90 people are taking part this year.
This is also a big night. Big Blue Nation. UK fans are across Memorial Coliseum getting ready for tomorrow morning. 5 a.m. is when they can run across the street to stake out their spots for Madness Camp Out.
Do they have a starting gate out there for this, by the way? Maybe that's a sponsorship waiting to happen.
That's an injury waiting to happen.
It's more like a retaining area.
Yes. Yeah. So what's the weather look like for all the fans who are out there tonight?
Tonight, you're in good shape. It's going to be chilly. Tomorrow afternoon and into Thursday and Friday, while we are waiting it out, we're going to have some periods of showers around. It's going to be chilly.
Come on, 47.
So,
come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Look at the highs.
It's going to be cold in those tents.
And you're going to have gusty winds out there. So make sure the tents are waterproof and make sure we have
make chili.
jackets.
We can make chili.
Big old pot of chili.
Dave, are you there tomorrow night?
Thursday night. Chrissy Thomas and I are there from 7 to 10. Live show on UKathletics.com.
Great.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Callan and the team are supposed to be there.
Are you camping out?
He's stirring the chili.
If Chris will come over, I'll camp out with him. I'll commit to that right now.
All right, somebody save us a tent.
The fans would love that.
All right, right here. That could get ugly, right?
Thanks so much for joining us tonight for WKYT News at 6:30 here on the CW Lexington.
Lexington.
To help us break down the news tonight about this proposal, we're joined by the man himself, State Senator Reggie Thomas. First of all, thank you for being here.
Sam, thank you.
We appreciate it. This is sure to be controversial. Tell us, though, first, as we start off here, how this is going to, if it's passed, how it would actually regulate guns and make our community safer. How does it actually work?
It works, Sam, because right now in the state of Kentucky, local communities are barred from enacting any kind of regulation that they can use ordinances for to restrict, regulate any kind of manufacture, use, distribution of handguns.
Our Miranda Combs joins us live now from UK campus with more on the Attorney General's visit. And Miranda, really significant that the Attorney General of the United States chose, of all places to come to, Kentucky, but we have a big heroin problem in this state.
We do. You know, this is very unusual. Eric Holder, there were no visits from him except a short visit, I think, to the U.S. Attorney's office toward the end of his office at that time. But this is very unusual, Sam, and it has been a long day from her. Let's see, it started at Madison Central High School around 8 o'clock this morning. She talked to hundreds of students there. She then addressed the media, and we had a chance to ask our own questions at a media conference following that. And then she headed and talked to families who have lost people to overdose.
You created a life-saving product aimed at reducing the death toll from overdoses, right? Tell us about that.
So naloxone nasal spray came as a result of an unmet medical need where naloxone injection since 1971 was only an injectable product. So it's used in ambulances, ERs, and post-op recovery rooms. Sure. Okay, but to use it off-label, paramedics starting 10 or 15 years ago used the injection product with a nasal spray adapter to administer it before an intravenous set could be established. So it speeded things up, and it reduced a hazard in big cities because many of the patients they would see were HIV or hepatitis C positive.
Aaron Yelowitz is joining us. He is a professor of economics at the University of Kentucky. His research on health care reform has been cited in the Journal of American Medical Association. Thank you, Aaron, for being with us again tonight.
Thanks a lot.
On this Friday night. So how has health care reform, more specifically the Affordable Care Act, affected folks here in Kentucky?
It's had a big effect. Kentucky has seen the largest decrease in uninsurance between 2013 and 2014 out of all the states. About 430,000 people have signed up for Medicaid, and around 200,000 or so have signed up for the private insurance via Connect, which is now transitioning over to healthcare.gov.
U.S. Senate election results from Kentucky slowly trickling in this evening. Incumbent Republican Rand Paul seeking his second term as U.S. Senator. He's facing Democratic challenger Jim Gray, of course, the Lexington mayor. The numbers right now, 17,000 plus for the incumbent Rand Paul. Jim Gray trailing behind by about 11,000 votes. To help us break down the news about the early results, especially this U.S. Senate race, Herald Leader political reporter and writer Daniel DeRochers joins us live now. Also, Bill Bryant. Daniel, anything in particular that pops out earlier that you're looking for with this U.S. Senate race?
So what I'm looking for kind of, I'm just trying to see how Jim Gray is doing kind of in comparison to Jack Conway, who was the Democratic opponent for Rand Paul in 2010. Right now, there are some counties where Gray is outperforming Conway, some where he's not. And so if we can kind of track that, we'll be able to see how well he's doing and be able to get a good image for whether or not he has any kind of chance of winning.
Also concerned about the people whose lives have been hurt.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
And we are in the First Alert Weather Center with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey to break down the news. Chris, where's the storm right now?
The storm right now, guys, is near Freeport in the Bahamas. It is approximately 100 miles offshore from the Atlantic coast of Florida. Category 4 hurricane. You see it spinning right now toward Freeport here in the Bahamas.
Now let's head back out to Lexington Green, where Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is enjoying Lakeside Live. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, we're roughly 45 minutes in right now to our Friday evening of Lakeside Live. We're here till 9 o'clock. The band, the River Rats out of Cincinnati, Ohio, on the stage right now. And they've got some great tunes. Boy, if you like swing music, you like a little jazz, this is the place to be through 9 o'clock this evening.
Look out, it's time now for the Sports Buzz.
Dave Buzz Baker joins us live from the Big Blue Madness campout. He's in the middle of all the fun outside Memorial Coliseum, along with Christy Thomas. Hi, guys.
How far away are you here?
I mean, how about that? It's a lovely and talented Christy Thomas that's here with us, actually, for tonight's big show.
Yeah, of course, but only alongside you. I'm really kind of
That's
just
because you're wearing those
co-host.
darn heels.
Oh, yeah, well, it happens.
And I look like I'm vertically challenged.
Baker's live from Clear Channel Radio. Good evening, Dave. How you doing, buddy?
Slammer, everything's good. One of those nights where you do a little of this, a little of that. We've been getting ready with pregame radio with Mike and Tom, and now we're getting set to go as the Cats get their first big test of the season as they take on Michigan State up in the Champions Classic. First of two tonight, Duke and Kansas in the second one.